it's Sarah here. Thanks for joining me for another Moose and Adventure. Today, I'm actually starting this video from inside the Mickey and Friends parking structure at the Disneyland Resort. Today, we're going to go see what it's like to be at the parks in the rain. I don't know if we'll actually go on the rides or just check it all out, but in this video, I'm going to be telling you what rides you should go on, especially if it's an active downpour. The rides you should absolutely avoid at all costs if it's raining. And we're going to look and see if we can find some characters. I know that if it gets really, really bad, the characters can't come out. But if the characters can come out at all, they will come out. But sometimes they're hiding in spots that you wouldn't expect because of where they move them for the rain. So I'm going to let you in on where those character meet and greets are. I'm also going to tell you the story about the time that I worked on the Jungle Cruise in the middle of a downpour and got yelled out by a guest. And I'm going to tell you why maybe the Jungle Cruise is something you don't want to go on during a rainy day. But first things first, I want to show you what I brought with me to protect myself from the rain, knowing that it was going to rain. The very most important thing you could do is to be wearing the right gear. So right now I'm wearing a t-shirt. Where's my mic cover? A t-shirt and a sweatshirt. I'm about to put on my long sleeve t-shirt. I've also got my raincoat and I'm wearing leggings. In addition to the leggings, which by the way, I think leggings are crucial during a rainstorm because you want to wear clothes that are going to dry fast. But I've also brought another pair of leggings that I'm actually going to put over the top of the leggings that I'm already currently wearing because I get cold. Leggings are not super warm, so keep that in mind. The other thing that we brought is the umbrella. Guess what? Inside of Disneyland, you can absolutely use your umbrella. And after the umbrella gets wet, if it's not raining or you're going to go on a ride, either bring a bag, either like a plastic grocery sack or a garbage bag from home, or ask a cast member for one of their bags at a store. They'll give them to you gladly. Last but not least, I am wearing my Crocs today. These are brand new. Did not know how much I wanted or needed Crocs. I used to like to wear flip-flops in the rain because I don't like it when my feet get cold and wet and soggy. And I used to sometimes wear my tennis shoes, which tennis shoes are fine and they have much better traction than the flip-flops in the rain. However, Disneyland is full of puddles when it rains. And the last time we went, they got sopping wet, and a true story, took my shoes a week before they dried out again. With the Crocs, that's not an issue. I can splash or run through any puddles that I want to, whether it's on purpose or an accident. They keep my feet relatively warm, and bonus, they dry out super, super fast. It was not actively raining when we got into the parking structure. It is raining now. I don't know, I probably have bad luck. You'll notice that there are so many people leaving the park. Those people are all leaving. We're coming. That means there's lots of opportunity for us to go on rides. I have not checked the app recently, but when we checked it about an hour or so ago, the longest line in the entire park was Space Mountain, and that was 25 minutes, which if any of you guys know Disneyland, that's usually one of the very longest lines in the park, and it usually sits around an hour. I do happen to know a secret, and that's where to find the characters if they're out. Lots of times if they're out and it's raining, they are in Mr. Lincoln's Theater. So I'm going to take a peek and see if they're there. I don't think they are. I don't think they are. But if they were in here, they'd be right in there, kind of by the picture. So it's where you exit Mr. Lincoln and the hats. But they will frequently move the characters in there because, yeah, Mickey does not like the rain. He's a mouse. I guess mice don't like rain. Makes sense. I get it. But they aren't there. I'm trying to think what time it is. It's 5 or close to 5. I'm trying to think if there was a parade, because if there's a parade that's scheduled, they normally aren't out during that time. So Mickey might actually be lunching. Yeah, they won't. They will not do a parade today either. That's one of the things you do miss if you come and it rains. But they will frequently do cavalcade. And this is kind of what I was talking about with, oh, look at these puddles. But they will do what's called a rainy day parade. It's to keep the characters safe, and that makes sense. Um, I don't know if we'll get to see the rainy day parade or not, but if not, I will show footage from a rainy day parade that we saw was last year, I think. Anyways, does not matter. Look at how cute. See, they're skipping in the rain. You can still totally have fun. Um, we did not bring ponchos. I know you'll notice that there are a lot of people wearing ponchos. One of the pluses to wearing ponchos is that if there's rides that had seats that are wet, you're now protecting that bottom of yours and your bottom will not get wet. You will notice that they do actively sweep away the water to try to keep the walkways clean. Somebody was walking, so we didn't get to see him do his job, but check that out. That's a whole ton of water. I was saying we should hit all the rides in a circle. Okay, she's probably right. But check this out as long as I'm getting sidetracked because look at Tomorrowland and the rocket ship. They've been renovating it. Kind of all of it's gone right now. But a couple years ago, we knew it was going to rain. So I had packed extra clothes in the event of a downpour, and I'd actually carried them in my backpack so that when we got sopping wet and it dried, because right now it's not super raining right now. So like if I was drenched right now, I'd be changing clothes, but I'm not. But anyways, I packed them all in a backpack so that we could change. I'd even brought a garbage sack to put our wet clothes in because I was thinking ahead. Guess what I forgot? Didn't think through the fact that if it's drenched, the backpack was going to get drenched and everything in it was going to get drenched. And I had not put the clothes inside the backpack. And so all of our dry clothes got completely drenched. So bring a bag to put your wet clothes in, but put your dry clothes in the bag so the dry clothes stay wet, or so the dry clothes stay dry so you can put them on when you need it. It is 10 minutes. This is an excellent ride to go on in a downpour. The line, for the most part, well, for the whole part today, it's entirely inside because that line is not long at all. Also, Buzz Lightyear, that line is so short that it is totally covered too. That line is also only 5 minutes. That's another ride that I absolutely 100% recommend for a rainy day. We're going to make our way around the corner in Tomorrowland, and the next ride we're going to hit is Space Mountain. It is incidentally Sweethearts Night tonight, so the park closes at 8 o'clock. Both parks actually close at 8 o'clock. I think California Adventure would usually be open until 9, like it normally is, but they're closing it at 8 because of the rain, which I think is pretty rare for them to close the parks early. But they closed the park early last night too because of the rain. But let's go see what Space Mountain's at. I'm going to guess it's low because people are running. But legit, you don't even need to run on a day like today because all of the lines are low. Okay, Space Mountain is actually decently long. It is 45 minutes. Okay, Hannah's right. That is not decently long for Space Mountain, but long considering every other line is super, super short. You want to go on Space Mountain? Okay, we're not going to go on Space Mountain, but we are going to continue our walk around the park. Space Mountain is also a ride that I would recommend for when it rains. The line is entirely covered, so you will not get wet. The roller coaster part is all inside, so that's a great ride and place to hang out while it's downpouring. By the way, I forgot to mention this. There are also restaurants that are great to hang out if it's raining. One of those is Tomorrowland Terrace. The other part, I passed it because I didn't think about it in time, but the other one that's absolutely amazing is the Pizza Planet. Almost all of their seating is either inside or covered. We're going to continue our part on the park. The Tomorrowland Terrace? Yeah, Tomorrowland Terrace. Oh, Galactic Grill. Why did I call it Tomorrowland Terrace? I don't know either, but Galactic Grill. Autopia is one I would not ride. In the rain, you will be soaking wet. The cars are all outside. Submarine Voyage is fine, and that line is basically covered. Although, if it's coming down in sheets or sideways, you'll probably still get wet. Matterhorn is not currently running. Matterhorn is one that I would not ride in the rain. That's because it is open seating. You will get wet. You will you'll be sitting in basically, yeah, all the water is going to pool inside that car. But are they running again? No, I think they're testing it out. Disneyland is always constantly monitoring the weather. If they think that the rain's going to start for a little bit, they'll test it like they're doing now, and they will in fact open it. But keep in mind, you will get wet. There are maintenance guys in the Matterhorn line, so maybe it just legit broke down. So let me know if I'm wrong, because maybe it doesn't always close in the rain. Pretty sure Alice in Wonderland does. Most of the rides in Disneyland will stay open. I feel like they have more rides that stay open than close. We're coming up on It's a Small World. It's really not that bad of a day minus the rain, because it stopped raining actively. When it's raining actively, if it's big raindrops, you get totally soaked. Small World is going to be a really short wait. It's only 5 minutes. But keep in mind that even though the ride itself is covered, you are sitting in open boats while you load it and while you unload it. And so those seats are going to most likely be wet. So even though the ride itself is covered, probably still gonna get wet, which is where, like, maybe if you bring like a jacket to sit on, or you have that rain poncho, if they'll let you wear it on it, that's not going to be a super big issue. But chances are that your feet are going to be sitting in puddles on the bottom of the boat. As far as places to go in the park when it's raining, Toontown is one of my absolute favorites, and here's why. It's not my favorite spot to be stuck if you're wanting to eat, because they don't have any covered seating really at all for food. And I guess technically the Go Go Gadget coaster is an open roller coaster, so you're going to get wet there. But and who's to say she's not even sure if it's open in the rain? I'm not sure either. That is not one that I routinely ride. But we're going to get there in a second. Here's why Toontown is my absolute favorite. And apparently, a lot of other people know that too, because there's a decent amount of people in here. Um, Roger Rabbit's is awesome. It's got really cool theming inside. It's currently at a 30-minute wait, which is probably why that entire ride and line are enclosed. The other ride that is absolutely phenomenal and the entire line is enclosed, as well as the ride, is Mickey's Runaway Railway. And it looks like it's currently down. But if it's pouring rain, you could go either from Mickey's Runaway Railway and walk straight over to Roger's Rabbits, or vice versa, and you're not going to get that wet. The other thing that is awesome, Minnie actually might not meet in the rain because her house is closed. However, Mickey does meet in the rain. This line isn't totally enclosed. It's a really fun space to go because there's lots of stuff to do inside his house. This wait time is 45 minutes. Go Go Gadget is not running right now, and I think it might be because of the rain. But I like that Mickey's Toontown at his barn is open, because it's always open. So if you don't see Mickey at the front, like we didn't see Mickey, I'm going to check again, because I know that frequently they'll have the characters move inside if at all possible, because they don't like to get wet. They don't like the rain. But all else fails, he's always at his barn, and that is inside, and you'll still get to see Mickey Mouse. There is nobody taking advantage of the rain, but the fountain's a great place to be today because you're wet anyway, and this fountain is so cute. This is future Sarah sitting at home, not being wet at Disneyland. I realized that somehow or other, through that magic of movie editing or something, how would Kronk say it? By all accounts, it is impossible. We somehow or other made it from Toontown into Fantasyland, but I didn't document any of it. So without further ado, on Fantasyland. This is a little bit strange because there's not a cast member in sight. I'm going to try to zoom in. But Alice is definitely closed. Like the ride, it's across there. I don't feel like walking over there. The Teacups is closed. And Storybook Land. This is what we noticed first. Gotta zoom back out again. There is not a boat, not a cast member in sight. Nobody even here to say, yeah, we're closed, but definitely closed. But they're closed, but I don't know that those would be super fun in the rain anyway. But again, I'm pretty sure. Keep getting told I have low battery. That's what I get for not completely charging it before I come in. But pretty sure that they can't run those ones in the rain. And that they wouldn't be fun. It's all open. Dumbo is open. This is going to be one again that you're going to get wet even in there. It's only a 5-minute wait. Great time to ride Dumbo, but if it's cold or windy, it's going to be freezing on Dumbo, especially if it's actively raining. Mr. Toad's Wild Ride has a decently long line. It says 10 minutes. I'm betting that might be closer to 20 minutes. Yeah, that's true. Mr. Toad's is fine because it's all inside. And spoiler alert, the end is very, very, very warm. Hot, in fact. Walt wanted that ride to have a consequence, and it does. So if you haven't ridden it, go ride it. Peter Pan is still really long. This is a covered ride, but only half of the line is covered. So if it's actively downpouring, you might not want to be in that line. Snow White, however, is a completely covered line, a completely covered ride. Peter Pan is still saying 40 minutes. Snow White's is saying 10s. Yeah, and that's true. Peter Pan at 40 minutes really is not that long because it's usually longer. The carousel is also covered. That's a fun one to ride in the rain. Pinocchio's Daring Journey, minus that the line is sticking out a tiny bit. Most of that line is covered, and the entire ride is covered. That wait time, I'm not seeing a wait time on that one. I'm going to guess 20 minutes to a half an hour. Red Rose Tavern is also another eating place that if it starts pouring or if you want to get out of the rain, go to. But keep in mind that it has limited indoor space to eat. A lot of its space is outside. This is another drawback to going in the rain is that if you get tired and you want to rest, all of their seating is pretty drenched. So that's where, again, you'd want to make sure that you have like a poncho or a jacket or something that you could sit on. Because otherwise, that's not going to be very fun. We are not going to walk down to Star Wars Land because we've just checked the app. Rise of the Resistance is currently down temporarily. It was running earlier and it was like at a 30 to 40-minute wait time. Look at, there's nobody back here. This is insane. Well, I guess it's not though because it's wet and rainy today. Look at that sky. But you can hear Big Thunder. Big Thunder is running. But yeah, it's down right now. But 30 or 40-minute wait time for Rise of the Resistance. I was like, let's go. But it's down right now. But that ride is once you've gotten through the outside line, which with a 30-minute line, I think you're already past this already. But that line is all inside. The ride, for the majority of it, I say majority because there's like a little pre-show and then you go outside again and then you come back inside. Spoiler alert. Is that a spoiler alert? No, I don't think that's spoiler alert. But pretty much that ride is totally completely inside. Millennial Falcon was only 5 minutes. Unpopular opinion, I don't like that ride at all. So we are not walking down there for it for even 5 minutes. But that's another one. But that is, in fact, another ride. If I wanted to walk down there, look at how wet everything is. Be aware that you could slip. That you could definitely wait in because the whole thing is inside the ride and the line. I heard it running a minute ago, but I don't see any trains at this exact moment. Let's go around to the other side. Oh, but something's got to be running because lots of people are exiting. Oh, I can hear them now. I can see them. Here they come. Yeah, I don't think they have any cars running. And remember how I told you that I'd heard differing opinions on whether or not you could wear ponchos on rides? That ride, there were in fact quite a few people on that train that were wearing ponchos. So I just learned something new. We stopped to get popcorn because there was zero line. It was like one person in front of us, and that never happened. So I'm like, we got to get popcorn. And I was laughing about it to the cast member that there was nobody in line, and he said that they just barely opened up. That the carts do in fact close when it is raining. So keep that in mind if you're coming and you like to snack or you think you might get hungry. You might want to pack some snacks, but put them in something that's going to be waterproof and it's not going to ruin them if they get a little bit wet. It is starting to rain. Not raining super hard, but these drops are big. You can kind of see it on the water. Oh, it's so pretty though, the way the lights were reflecting off in the sky and everything. We're headed around towards soup and a bread bowl sounds delicious right now. Pirates of the Caribbean is only 5 minutes. This is a partially covered line. The beginning part of the line is outside, but at 5 minutes, you're probably walking straight into that line. I'm thinking that I'm not going to walk all the way down there because right now, Haunted Mansion is closed. Tiana's Bayou Adventure is still being constructed, and the only thing down there is Winnie the Pooh, and that is always a short line. So we're going to cut this line short. Oh, when Haunted Mansion is open, though, it is a decently good place to go. We have done that at Rainstorm before. The outside is not a covered line at all. It's not covered until you get inside, but the line itself is really fun. It's the line usually goes really fast. Swiss Family Robinson reimagined, is that what they're calling it? The Adventures of Swiss. No, it's the Adventureland Treehouse. Let's start that over. The Adventureland Treehouse is still open. It is all outside. Those stairs might get slippery, so keep that in mind. I'm not going to walk up there because I promised Who's tonight that we would only be in the park like 2 hours because she's cold and it's a little bit wet and rainy and she's been feeling a little bit under the weather. This is Indiana Jones. Oh, Indiana Jones is also down. Indiana Jones does, in fact, run in bad weather, but it is a ride that frequently breaks down. But I think it just recently broke down because there are still people in line. Yeah, Hannah's like, I would have gone on that one. I think I would have too. I really like Indiana Jones. Jungle Cruise is mostly covered line. That remember when I said that there's rides that I would not go on in the rain? This is one of them. So Jungle Cruise is 15 minutes right now. I worked here in the year of 1998. And for those of you that remember that year, that was the year of El Nino. And it rained and it poured and then it poured a little bit more. Let me see if I can get a good shot of these boats. Oh, I can. Hang on. Okay, here's a good shot to sort of illustrate what I meant. I can't get down the side by Indiana Jones, and that's kind of where I wanted to be. Now you'll notice this is the Yancey. Love this ride. I'm actually going to walk a little bit farther down when it's not raining, but when it is raining, another story. This is where I got yelled at and yelled at and yelled at by guests, and here's why. Looks covered, right? Great place to be in a rainstorm or after a rainstorm, right? Wrong. It is the last place on the planet that you want to be in a rainstorm or after it rained. And here's why. I don't know if you can tell from my angle. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. Ah, there you go. Can you see that nice little dip right there? Those roofs are made of canvas. And if you notice how that kind of indents, that fills up with water and it fills up with water really, really fast. Remember how I said that it's canvas? As those boats turn the corner, all of that water that's on the top of the boat comes gushing down like a waterfall to the inside of the boat, and it gets the guests drenched, like soaking wet, like they were standing underneath the waterfall that it just became inside the boat. Not to mention that you are sitting in an open boat, and that's those seats that you're sitting on are also going to be wet. Do not, under any circumstances, go on the Jungle Cruise unless you're prepared. You've got a hat on, you've got your poncho on, and you just know up front that that water is going to get inside that boat at every single turn. You've now been warned. I will give the Jungle Cruise this. But it does in fact feel very much like a tropical rainforest today, minus that it's cold. Although I've never been to tropical rainforest. Maybe tropical rainforests are cold, but I kind of don't think so. Which brings us to that tiki room. The Tiki Room might be my number one spot that I would recommend to be in the parks if it is a downpour. It is a show. It's about, how long would you say it is? I used to work it and I don't even know how long the show is, but it's probably about 15 minutes long. I know somebody that actually remembers how long it is probably going to be like, no, it's not that. Yeah, it's only like 5. I don't think so though, because I remember coming in here. This was like my favorite part of the rotation, especially if it was hot summer and I was tired because you could come in here and relax in the air conditioning. But the Tiki Room is totally completely covered. It's a great show. It's got wonderful seats, and that is the place that you definitely number one recommended place to be in a downpour. Oh, and you can this kind of sad because the Dole Whips is closed outside. Though it's only mobile order, but they have one right around the corner of the exit that is not. But it is an excellent place to be. My number one place to be in the park when it is actively downpouring. You can bring food in there. Who says right? So you could even eat your snack in there. You're going to be toasty warm. You could even, if you really want to do it, it was that downpour. Although someone's going to catch on and it's not going to be not crowded anymore. But you could even just keep going that little loop from the exit back to the entrance until it stopped raining. And you'd be dry and happy as a clam, and your day would just be better until it stopped raining. Here's another perk of going on a rainy day. Not everything is bad. A lot of stuff is positive. Although as it gets darker and darker, it's probably going to get colder and colder. This is not a warm rain. But check this out. Usually the line to take pictures in front of the castle is so huge, and you've always got like 4 million of your closest friends behind you in the picture. There's no line. It's not really crowded. One thing I have not noticed in the park today, though, is there's not PhotoPass. So if you bought that Genie Plus and you're counting on PhotoPass, that is not to be found. Or at least I haven't seen any. Have you seen any PhotoPass? Yeah, I doubt they have PhotoPass today. Yeah, their cameras probably don't work in the rain. They'd get ruined. But all you have to do is grab a passerby. Look at these pictures. Or if you can find a cast member, because cast members will also take your photo. But check this out. That castle is kind of empty. Some of these lines, oh, this is right. Check this. There is a little break in the clouds. California seems to be like that. Like, we kind of joke that you'll get all 4 seasons in one day, although we don't usually rain that much. But it's not raining. It really hasn't been raining the whole time we were there. Oh, there's something just so clean and fresh about the rain. I'm wondering, though, if the wait times were slightly skewed, meaning that I was surprised at how long some of those roller coaster lines were. I was not expecting that. But you know what just occurred to me? Because yesterday I did look at the app. Now, granted, yesterday was downpouring way harder, way longer, all day long. I don't think they got a break at all. I wasn't here. I was like, yep, not coming today. But what was I going to say? I forgot. Oh, but guess what just occurred to me as I'm watching people walk by another popcorn stand. I think I'm going to get some more popcorn. Is that it is Sweethearts Night. People are coming in for that event. They bought the tickets. Those tickets are not refundable. They are coming anyway. I'm hoping some of the characters can come out because it's not actively downpouring, not actively raining. But that's going to skew the numbers too, because that's going to overlap the Sweethearts Night and just normal guests. So I think if it wasn't Sweethearts Night, that there would not be this many people, and I think some of these wait times would in fact be shorter. It is 6 o'clock. A lot of the Sweethearts people are starting to come into the park. And let's be honest, if I paid for Sweetheart Nights, I would totally be coming. It's still going to be fun. It's still not going to be as crowded as a normal day. And it stopped raining. So there's a really good chance that the characters are going to come out. And I am actually going to give it one last shot on Main Street before we exit Disneyland Park and see if Mickey, Minnie, Goofy, Pluto, some of those Fab Five are out now, because, again, it hasn't rained. And in fact, it hasn't even really misted since we got here. It rained a little bit when we first got off the tram, and I was thinking, oh no. But yeah, it's been a really nice night. It hasn't even been super crazy cold, minus the fact that I also told you that I'm wearing 5 or 6 layers. I feel like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. I don't know. I don't think the characters are out here. I'm gonna go see if they happen to be in Lincoln, because like I said, if it's not absolute downpour and it's not forecasted to be downpour literally all day, and there's a good chance that they can come out, they will move them into Lincoln's. Mickey will go in there, Minnie will go in there, Goofy will go in there. I'll post a picture from another time that we came and they were in Mr. Lincoln's. We got to see all of them there. It was Pluto, Goofy, Mickey, Minnie in one shot. Nobody knew they were in there, and it was like the most amazing night ever. I'm gonna give it a peek. Kind of don't think that they are though, because I don't see a lot of people in here. Oh, why did I tell you? Nobody knows they're in here, but look, it's Pluto! It's Mickey! Yay! Hi, how are you doing? They are just leaving. And look, there's a photo pass. And so they'll be coming out pretty soon. A new character will be coming back in, but this is where they meet. How fun! And you can watch them as they walk by too. They just come out and back in their umbrellas. My sun dogs just don't like to get wet. I get it. Me neither. Haha, that's awesome! So not only can you see them down in Toontown, but you can also see them at Mr. Lincoln's. We are gonna leave a little bit earlier than I normally would. It's only 6 o'clock, but I'm so happy that we got to see Mickey on the way out. We're not actually gonna go over to California Adventure like I was originally going to. I don't know. We'll do that in another video. This is not gonna be the only time that it ever rains here. Monorail's back up and running again. A couple weeks ago when the new Wish movie came out, they had Asha meeting in the park, and a couple weeks ago when the new Wish movie came out, they had Asha meeting in the park, and she's probably still meeting in the park, but we weren't sure how long she was going to be in the park for. So she was like on our list of must-see, really want-to-see characters. And the day that we came, that we set aside to specifically see Asha, because if you guys have watched most of my videos, they're at night, because that's when we usually come, is later at night. Well, she only meets in the park until, I believe it was 5 or 6, I can't remember now. And we usually don't get here until a little bit after that. So that day we were like, okay, we're gonna go see Asha. This is the day. And that day it rained. And it was raining on and off, but when it rained, like, it kind of poured. But we kind of went to the park and we were talking to one of the character hosts, and she's like, well, if Asha can come out, she'll come out. And this is the time that she'll be out. So we were running over at that time, and sure enough, there was a break in the weather, and as we were talking to her, she was saying that she was disappointed because she hadn't been able to be out all day, and she wanted to meet people, and she was out for that little, very little short time period, and pretty soon after we saw her, she actually had to go back in again because it started raining. So that's one of my biggest tips. If characters are a thing, make sure that you kind of watch the weather, keep track of what the rain and stuff is doing, because if there is a let up in that rain, those characters will come back out, and you got to make sure you catch them fast in case that rain starts again. Thanks for joining me today. If you have any other tips or tricks that maybe I missed, let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you real soon.